They stood in Freedom Square in Yerevan. It was from here that the first Armenian claims over Nagorno-Karabakh were voiced during the final years of Soviet rule. This time, they were shouting Armenia's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan is a traitor. The rally was organized by his political opponents, including the second largest party in parliament. The message some of the opposition leaders gave to their supporters is that there has been a national betrayal. The protesters defied the country's martial law, under which demonstrations are banned and at times scuffled with police. Calls for the Prime Minister to resign became louder throughout the day. The ceasefire agreement signed with Russia and Azerbaijan calls on Armenia to pull out of more Azeri territory it had occupied since 1994, while Azerbaijan keeps the land it has regained during the military operations.
Well, meanwhile, French forces have killed a senior member of Al-Qaeda in Mali. Moussa was the military leader of the group's North Africa wing. He was a former colonel in the Malian army and he helped to carry out attacks on soldiers and civilians in Mali and neighbouring Burkina Faso. French forces have killed dozens of Islamist fighters in a series of operations in recent weeks. Here's the Foreign Minister.
We have reorganized in Mali with the help of good intelligence and a good relationship with the joint force, the forces from the 5 countries of the Sahel. We've conducted operations with the Europeans who are bolstering us, in particular at the special forces level, giving us very significant results today. I sometimes hear people ask why this fight is relevant to France, and I answer that it's in the interest of French security against terrorism, because Al-Qaeda calls itself an enemy of France, of Europe, and our values.
Nos valeurs.
One of Britain's most notorious serial killers, Peter Sutcliffe, has died aged 74 after refusing treatment for coronavirus. The killer, known as the Yorkshire Ripper, spent almost 40 years locked up in Broadmoor and other prisons for murdering 13 women and attempting to kill 7 others between 1975 and 1980. His 5-year reign of terror led to one of the biggest police manhunts of the 20th century.
Earlier, the convoy of police cars and the green armoured van carrying Peter William Sutcliffe to the Old Bailey had swept out of the prison into the dank Brixton morning, the tiny blacked-out windows preventing even a glimpse of the man who admitted later he had indeed killed 13 women and tried to kill 7 more.
Finally confessing his crimes, Sutcliffe notoriously claimed he was a beast driven on by a devil inside him. Sutcliffe tested positive for COVID in prison on November 7th, but stunned doctors by refusing any medical treatment.
Lose my baby! Why me?
The panic is clear as she calls out for her 6-month-old baby Joseph. Mother and son, originally from Guinea, were crammed onto a rubber dinghy when it started deflating hours after leaving Libya's coast. The Spanish NGO Open Arms tweeted this message after baby Joseph died on its rescue boat. It said they recovered him from the sea. Hours later, he died. They say she is the mother of Joseph. Open Arms rescued more than 100 people from the boat, all hoping to seek a better life in Europe. 6 people, including baby Joseph, did not make it. Dozens of bodies washed up on the Libyan port of Al-Huns point to another tragedy. Coast guards and local fishermen did what they could to rescue about 43 survivors, sitting clearly in shock on a beach.
Jerry Rawlings led Ghana for 2 decades, first as a military leader and then as an elected president. Born in Accra in 1947, his father was a Scottish chemist and his mother a Ghanaian national, and he became a national symbol. The former Air Force flight lieutenant got his first taste of power in 1979 when he joined other junior officers frustrated by government corruption to take control. An initial coup attempt failed and Rawlings was tried and sentenced to death. But before he could be executed, his co-plotters helped oust military leader Frederick Akufo. Their Armed Forces Revolutionary Council ran Ghana for 112 days before handing power to a civilian government. But Rawlings remained a major player, and within a year he was back in charge. As the economy struggled, he forced out President Hilla Liman in 1981, imprisoning him and dozens of other politicians.
Ancient, mysterious, and at the heart of a bitter dispute, Stonehenge is one of the most important Neolithic landscapes in Europe, with one of England's most congested roads running past it. This section of the A303 was designed for around 13,000 cars a day, but struggles with double that amount of traffic, and local residents say it's unsafe.
We have people who will stop their vehicles by the side of the road near Stonehenge, or simply slow to take photographs. So when the road is open, it's a nightmare because you have trucks trying very hard to get up the other side. So we have speeding vehicles. Of course, when the traffic grinds to a halt, which it does towards the weekend, we then can't get out of the village safely.
The latest proposal to widen the road with a 2.9-kilometre tunnel would remove the sight and sound of the traffic and speed it up, but would also involve boring deep into the landscape, a landscape rich in archaeology still being uncovered.
At the start of the pandemic, we all watched with horror what was happening in Italy and hoped it wouldn't happen here. Well, now Italy is fully engulfed in a second wave. In the last 24 hours, nearly 38,000 people have tested positive and more than 600 people have died. Hospitals are overwhelmed again, and it's a cautionary tale for all of us. At this hospital in Naples, it's curbside care. For at least 4 days, staff have been treating patients in their cars, checking blood pressure, even administering oxygen. And it's not the only hospital in southwestern Italy making headlines. A video spreading on social media appears to show a corpse on the floor of a bathroom. The Director General of the Cardarelli Hospital says an investigation is underway into the death.
Pfizer announcing promising results for its potential COVID-19 vaccine. Governments across the world have started lining up to get their hands on it. The US and the European Union are first in line, signing deals for 100 and 300 million doses each. Japan, meanwhile, has signed a deal for 200 million doses, while the UK has asked for 30 million. The Israel Prime Minister has also tweeted that Israel, too, is working around the clock to get the vaccine. While India has shown interest in the vaccine, no deal has yet been signed to procure it. Meanwhile, Russia has said that 20 countries have pre-ordered 1 billion doses of its Sputnik V COVID vaccine. Countries which have shown interest are India, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and other countries in West Asia.
Flecks of green bursting out of barren earth in Iraq, tens of thousands of palm trees which Ali is helping to grow. It's a massive $58 million mega project here, with natural wells being dug and even a desalination plant being constructed. Why? To grow dates. Basra is renowned for these fruit, but so many years of neglect put the industry in decline. According to the city's agriculture directorate, from the 13 million palm trees once thriving in Basra, only about 2.75 million are left today. That was until an investor from Kuwait, Abdulaziz Al Babtain, started this massive effort. Ala Abdel Hussein is the head of Basra's Investment Commission.
Now, the UN's Rights Commission has called for a full inquiry into possible war crimes in Ethiopia after reports emerged of a massacre of civilians in the Tigray region. Eyewitnesses blamed Tigrayan forces loyal to the northern region's TPLF party, but they've denied this. They accuse the government soldiers of killing civilians in air raids. The UN also warned of a growing refugee crisis, saying 4,000 civilians had fled over the Sudanese border in a single day.
The Ethiopian government has issued arrest warrants for senior officials in Tigray.
We came to know about these killings from a report by the rights group Amnesty International. It calls what happened in the northern state of Tigray in a place called Maikandra a massacre. It says that scores and possibly hundreds were killed.